We don't have someone introducing, so I'm just going to introduce myself. So today it's got myself, Anthea, and Paul teaching, and we're just doing 30 minutes or so each. What I'm presenting on today is a program that has some research involved that we've started doing this year, which I'm really excited to be doing. The program is called E.M.POWER. It is stands for Exploration, Movement, Power. It is an evidence-based program about instilling youth girls' confidence and support in being able to participate in strength exercise. So we are targeting 14 to 16-year-old girls who are currently physically active. The idea is that we want them to be already physically active. We're not trying to promote the importance of doing exercise in adolescent girls. That's a little bit too hard of a step for us to do at the moment, but we're basically trying to capture the market of youth athletes who perhaps aren't quite in those high performance environments that get access to strength training, but they're really interested and want to learn more and start to engage in this type of exercise. So far we've run it we've done 2 programs of it. We've done it in the April school holidays and the July school holidays. To give you an example of what it was, so this is all footage from our first program that we used to then promote our second program. It gives a really nice idea, and idea of what the program is. And I want to thank Katha and Ben from the Trobe Sport for helping to create this. This is not my work.
I thought the program was so much fun. I learned so much, especially as a young athlete going to the gym. I didn't really have a good understanding of everything around me. So doing this program was so awesome. Learning new stuff. It's really fun to meet new people and learn about these things that I hadn't really learned about before. Yeah, it was a great way to ask some questions about him and develop some new skills in. The program is really awesome. I'm learning things about how to target training and how to make a program personalized to me, and about recovery and all aspects of health and fitness. So I'm helping. What would you say to someone who's thinking about doing the program? I say just come along, give it a go. It's so much fun, and the girls are awesome. Everyone's so nice. It's good just to hang out with your friends and have a learning stuff. I've done a lot of experiences with people like friends, and a lot of new information that I have about before. It's definitely a great way to learn more about the gym and about things that have affected the gym, like nutrition, recovery. Yeah, great way to meet new people. I would say definitely do it. I highly recommend it. And after this week, I've walked down so many ideas, so I definitely recommend it.
Cool. So very briefly, just touching on why this program and why now, how it sort of came about. It was very much started from some conversations with MC. So a number of you would know MC, who's now back in Canada. She's left me, but we did develop this program together, and that very much came from our personal experiences in being able to be involved in strength from a pretty young age. But also seeing the rise of women doing elite sport environments, potentially having a lot of injuries in those elite sport environments, and the crucial role basically that strength training can play for these individuals, with the idea that if we can get strength training to a younger female population, we can probably improve and remove a lot of the later detrimental effects that can happen with injury, as well as being able to generally improve performance. How we also got to this point was through conversations with Jess Sapello at La Trobe Sport, and talking about some of the things that she has seen or done within the community sports aspect, and how we can be doing programs with athletes and with individuals in that space, and linking in with schools. But I also got bitten by the translational bug when I did my supporting the female athlete short course, and being able to get information directly to those that need it and want it and are going to make the most of this information. So Being able to go directly to adolescent girls to teach them about this space. Sure, we might be able to get some research out of it at the end, but the priority was very much about what can we do for these athletes now that's going to help them individually. So that's where we're coming from. The project has 3 broad areas that we are targeting that are quite diverse. Obviously, the first one is developing that athlete as our youth adolescents, teaching them correct movements, and then hopefully that translates into having the confidence to be able to go to a gym and do these exercises. Obviously, for personal reasons, we need to be doing research and publications. So we've embedded a few different research arms into this project as well. And then the third one is that we're also developing students, and we've had a number of Masters of S&C students involved in this program. So if I go through each of those aspects of what this program is, the first one is developing the athlete. What you can see on the slide is a bit of a schedule, Monday to Friday. So it was a 5-day school holiday program where they're with us from 9 till 3 o'clock. So we basically did a babysitting for 5 days. It was exhausting, but it was really rewarding at the same time. And what you can see through all the different blocks, we've got a number of different aspects that are involved in the program, including the practical hands-on things with a bit of education and some alternate or additional types of movements as well. If we're looking at the green, so our strength-based things, we have these 1 each day. We obviously don't want to be loading up our individuals too much, otherwise they're going to be fatigued by the end and not able to take anything on. And the idea behind each of those sessions is that they build on from each other. So we started pretty simply and straightforward with understanding warm-ups, cool-down and stability and core work, because we know we need all of those that then lead into our subsequent sessions. We then did a lower body squat hinge lunge day. We did an upper body push pull press. And then on the 4th day, we did plyometrics and power. With that, at the end of each of those, they do a circuit that then adds what they learned the previous day to add to this day. By the 5th day, they've actually created their own program, and we're putting them into a different gym environment to complete that. So looking at some of the visuals, we can you can see we're in multiple locations over this 5 days, and that was really important for us. In our first day, I actually don't have any of those footage. You see, this is the other one. The first day we have them in our gym because we know that that's a really confined area and space that we can be teaching them these things. We then took them over to the football Vic facilities and use their gym for a couple of days as well, just to get exposure to different gym environments, but also hopefully create a bit of excitement for them to see what an elite sport environment looks like. And Football Vic have been really supportive in us being able to use that facility. But then in addition to the, and then on the final day, we take them to our indoor sports center gym. So for the first 4 days while they're learning all of this content, we're in quite confined areas. It's just them in that space and they feel really comfortable and ownership of that area. By the 5th day, when they are creating their own programs, we actually want them to go into an unfamiliar environment to help with that step and progression to then being able to go to a gym in their own state that's not as controlled, I suppose. So this was an open gym. There was different people involved in each of these sessions, and it's starting to help build their confidence that they can just go into a space and find that equipment that they want to use and take ownership and be able to use it, as well as developing some of the general gym etiquette things of having to wait for equipment. So in addition to the sessions or the specific gym sessions, we also did a number of education and social side of things. So they do their own, we do a cooking class one time. For the rest of the, other than the cooking class, for the rest of the time, it is a catered event that they are being part of. We're also teaching them how to create their own program and what it looks like for a session and a program in general, so that they, if they get a program, they understand the terminology and what it looks like and why it's set up that way, but they can also start to develop that themselves. And we've also had a number of education pieces from Michaeli talking about menstrual health. We had Alana talking about recovery for them. We had a nutrition workshop. Maybe there was something else as well. Yeah, so they're getting a very broad exposure to a number of elements here that is somewhat in a high performance, trying to give them that elite exposure, but it's also not just for elite, it's just for general general excitement, I guess, of being able to do strength training. The second part of this project is that we wanted to develop the research. So research of women in strength is pretty low at the best of times. Research on adolescent girls in strength is almost minimal. So we had 3 aims for the project. We wanted to evaluate the movement patterns associated with this sort of intensive program, and look at that retention in those movements 1 month later. We want to look at whether this sort of program can improve some of the comfort, perceptions, and confidence of those in relation to strength and conditioning. And then the third one was just understanding a little bit more broadly, not specific to our program, but what do girls need for us to be able to get strength to them and have them engaging in this type of exercise. There seems to be a lot of interest and importance placed on aerobic exercise in youth athletes, and a lot less focus on the strength development, which is something that we really want to target. So the way we did this was a mixed methods approach. Our movement screening is, I think it's actually 6 movements, not 5 exercises, but they do this. We video recorded them at the start of their program. Day 1, morning 1, we record them again doing those movements at the end of day 5, and then they also submit their videos of them doing the movements one month later and back in their home environment. We take surveys of them pre, post, and 1 month later, so understanding their current exercise and sporting backgrounds, as well as their perceptions around strength training and those barriers and facilitators. And then at the end of those at the end of those programs, we ran focus groups. So we've had 3 focus groups come through now, understanding their feedback of the program, as well as general perceptions around strength training. We don't have results yet because we're just reaching the retention point of our second group. But just from some of the focus group discussions and the key ideas that I came out of those discussions, I thought were really quite interesting, really. So I had 3 main points that I seem to feel that strongly came out of all of them, is that they do not care or want this to be done in school, and they actively said that if it's done in school, they'll either pretend that they're not interested, or people will make fun of the few people that are interested. And so it's this like negative environment, and they were very adamant that it would not work, which I think is really interesting and is a real challenge that we need to address, because at the moment it's probably all through our PE teachers that we might be getting exposure to this group at the moment. The second one was that school friends don't equal sport friends, and that the girls doing this program had no interest in their school friends wanting to be involved or feeling the need to be involved, and that maybe they're more likely to be linked to a sporting friend, which probably means that we need to be, instead of potentially going through schools, going through sporting clubs may be a preferred means. And that they actually didn't really feel a strong need or desire for female only or female specific classes or gyms, which is also quite interesting and perhaps counter to what we would initially think in this group, and wanting to be quite protective of them. The third part was developing the students. I mentioned that we had a couple of master's students involved. Sarah Perkins is the main student that we've had involved in this program. She ran all of our active sessions, like gym-based sessions in the first one. She wasn't available as much in the second one, so we ended up having some placement students through Yaz and Taylor assisting in the second one. It is part of Sarah's master's project, so she's a part-time student. She's doing it over the whole year, and she is taking ownership of that movement screening. So she developed that movement screen. She's evaluated the reliability of that movement screen, and is currently in the process of evaluating whether this program can change and improve and sustain improved movements in these individuals. So from here, it's not the end of these programs. We want to keep going with them and develop and evolve them. At the moment, we've been running 2 5-day sessions. Next year, we're going to start looking at how we can adapt that and potentially reduce the load, both for the individuals and for us, and potentially reducing that cost as well. So we'll look at running a couple of 3-day programs still in the school holidays. We also want to be running a regional program, so likely this would be up in Bendigo and making the most of our facilities up there, because it's probably likely that our regional students or our regional individuals are going to have different needs and requirements and challenges that need to be addressed in terms of accessing these facilities and education. We're also looking at potentially adapting it to Al Sarat College, which is a Islamic school up in I keep going, it's not Eltham, Epping, sorry. They've expressed an interest in it, so we're going to look at what that might look like to put it as an in-school program for them. Based on some of that qualitative feedback, potentially we want to be targeting sports rather than the schools, and going through that network, so seeing whether that improves or changes the uptake of it. But we're also pretty open to any other thoughts, and if you've got experience working with this population group, then how we can continue to evolve it and trying to get as many people through the program as possible. We're also expanding our reach and starting to promote what we're doing and how we're doing it. So at the end of our second program in July, one of the main ways that I am promoting the program and following up on it is just through LinkedIn, and maybe you've seen some of those posts, but we actually had ESSA reach out to us after our second program saying that they had seen what we're doing and they thought it was really interesting, and so we're going to be doing a case study presentation to their sort of their like new emerging sport exercise scientists, helping to guide sort of how we created this program, what that program looks like, and how they could be potentially working in this population group as well. And we're also looking to present it at the upcoming ACHPO workshop, which the Trobe Sport have encouraged us to do. Not only to be generally promoting the La Trobe facilities that ACHPA and PE teachers and schools can be using to come here. There's a little like multi-layers of us promoting and advertising this. If we can get our program in front of the PE teachers, hopefully they can be promoting it more to their individuals, but also because of that qualitative component that we got where the girls just weren't interested in seeing it in schools. That workshop is actually going to become the next stream of research that we get out, looking from a PE teacher's perspective and where they see the challenges and how we can start to align and be a little bit more strategic in accessing and getting to this population effectively. So there's a lot of people to thank for those sort of being specifically involved in running of the program. Jess and the LTU sport team have actually been really supportive and helpful here. Everyone that's spoken into it, Scott, thank you for running your running sessions. They always seem to love it and get very excited by the end of it. Yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you.